Good morning, great Americans. It's another great American video. Boy, we've been churning out a lot of videos lately. A lot of news going on. Is this the biggest news week ever? I mean, there's been a lot of important weeks, like starting going into Iraq and Trump getting reelected. But man, there's a lot of news going on right now. No small amount due to Charlie Kirk and there's there's a silver lining in every cloud, and it's terrible and horrible that a good guy like Charlie got killed. But I would say that the silver lining is that there are millions of Charlies lining up to carry on what he did. So, uh, boy, the forces of evil really screwed that pooch. They wanted to get rid of Charlie. Now they got a million Charlies. And Trump is in England. Apparently, from everything I read, he is getting a bigger what's the word? More more pomp and ceremony and singular privileges that no other president has ever been given. He apparently they did a big flyover for him over Windsor castles, and apparently those jets that do that, and it's like that's their version of like the Blue Angels or whatever. They never do that. They never have flown over the castle ever. I guess it's under normal circumstances it's forbidden or whatever. So they're like rolling out a lot of firsts, putting him in the carriage with the king. A lot of firsts. Very interesting because the King of England these days, not like in the old days, generally does not get wrapped up in politics too close. This could be his way of signaling, right, to the government that he actually likes uh, certain things that Trump does that he wants to see done in England. For example, immigration. There's all kinds of riots and all kinds of stuff in England because their illegal immigration problem is way worse than ours was. And Trump cleaned ours up, and he's cleaning it up. And I think the king would like to see the same thing in England, but he's not going to get directly involved like that. So this could be his way of saying that. I don't know. Um, Here's the big news. Oh, and this is really I started out with the little things, but this video is really a quick update because Trump finally did something. I mean, like the old saying goes, it's better late than never. Um, uh, he finally did something that should have been done a long time ago. He declared Antifa a terrorist organization, which is exactly what it is. Now, I made two videos on Antifa. My last video was an update, but I just realized that was back in 2023. So even it's kind of old right now. Plus, it never got posted on YouTube because YouTube used to tear down my videos. The best place to watch my videos is on Rumble because that's the free speech. BitChute is kind of free speech, but there's some questionable people on BitChute, although they are free speech. But Rumble, I think, is the best. Some of our videos are on YouTube. I tended to stay away because YouTube is not free speech. They're authoritarian like fascists, just like the Democrats. I mean, don't forget that's the same channel that banned our current president. And now, boy, but anyway, update on Atlantis. So this is very important that people need to understand about Antifa. Now, I wish I had some graphics and some imagery behind me to sort of help out. I don't. So please listen to this because it is very, very important. And it ties in with a lot of other things. Okay. Little history lesson here. Uh, Before the Nazis took over in Germany, uh, There was a lot of fighting in the streets. They had a republic like we have a republic, but it was very weak. They were very poor. They were coming off the Great Depression. They were coming off the loss of World War One. The government was weak, and there was a lot of sort of militant political groups in the streets vying for power. One of them was the communists, right? I mean, it had only been a couple of decades since the big communist revolution in the Soviet Union, and they were really hot to spread their revolution throughout Europe. So all kinds of big communist groups across Europe and Germany. And of course, the Nazis were another big group in Germany vying for power. And so at one point in time, the Nazis up against the communists were like head to head or toe to toe or whatever, trying to gain power in Nazi Germany. Okay. Now, as we all know, the Nazis had their thugs, right? That go out and beat people up, and they were called the brown shirts, or they were called the SA, led by Ernst Röhm. And the communists had their I don't know how to pronounce it in German, but it's very similar to anti-fascist. It's like antifascischa or something like that. But when you see the old logo from the 30s, it's almost exactly the same. I mean, exactly the same as today's American Antifa. So Antifa, and they were just like the Nazi brown shirt. They were thugs, beating people up and stuff. So the anti-fascista and the Nazis in early 30s Germany were basically the same thing, two sides of the same coin. Bullies, authoritarians, whether it was the Nazis or the communists, they were both evil. They were both authoritarian, brutal, not the slightest bit interested in liberty or freedom or democracy or anything. So it is 100% fair and correct to say that the Nazis and the communists and their bullies, the brown shirts and the anti-fascista, were all equals in their evil and their hate and their violence and their thuggery. Now, were they anti-fascista? Were they anti-fascist? Well, in the sense that they were fighting against the Nazis for power, right? The Nazis were their rival, trying to get power. In that sense, yeah, okay, they were anti-Nazis because the Nazis were their rivals, right? Like the other team, so to speak, they were fighting against. But that doesn't mean they weren't just like them. They were exactly like them. No different. No different at all. Only in name only. And that's what's important to remember about today. Today's Antifa they claim to be anti-fascist, but they are no different. They are brutal, thugs, bullies, violent. They're committed to political violence. And here's the ignorant, stupid part, because they take advantage of their low IQ followers. Of course, Democrats and leftists these days, you have to be low IQ and just butt stupid to still want to be a part of those horrible groups. The difference and the stupidity of them today is they claim to be fighting fascism, but there is no fascism. What do they fight? They fight Republicans because the mainstream media and the Democrats lie. They lie through their teeth by calling Republicans Nazis, which is why they killed Charlie Kirk and they tried to kill Trump. And the stupid idiots who are members of Antifascista, they're just like like bulls looking at a red flag. The Democrats say Nazis over here, and they go, "Oh, Nazis, anti-fascist." They claim to be anti-fascist, but they they don't even know what a fascist is, and they wrongly think that Trump and Republicans are fascists. And of course, it doesn't help, like I said, that they have the liars in the media and liars in the Democrat Party repeating these lies. And so that's why Trump did the right thing in labeling Antifa a terrorist organization, because that is exactly what they are. And that is exactly what their predecessors, the Antifascista in Germany, were terrorist organizations. The Nazis and the SA under the Nazi banner was a terrorist organization. That's literally what they did, is terrorize people in the streets, in their own streets. And the Antifascista, same thing, terrorizing violence in the streets. And that's what they do today. Except the stupid part is today in America, there's no actual Nazis that they're doing it against. They're doing it against Republicans because the mainstream media and the Democrats lie and say that Republicans are like fascists, which is so stupid. You cannot name one. If you go down a list of Trump's policies, foreign policy, domestic policy, tax policy, immigration policy, trade, whatever. Go down a list of his policies. Find me a policy that's fascist. You can't. There's no fascist. It's a lie. It's a stupid lie, and it's so stupid that the only people who actually believe it are idiots, low IQ idiots, the people who make up the rank and file of the Democrat. Now, with all this in mind, let's kind of expand it just a little bit briefly. You see, I have told you many times about Mark Levin's book, American Marxism, and how the secret goal, well, it's not really much of a secret, how their goal is to destroy America and build a sort of a Marxist state on the ashes. And I have told you how so many disparate things that just seem insane on their face make sense when you realize that that's their goal. It's like, for example, letting illegals pour into the country. I mean, that's crazy. It's a direct violation on the law. You would think that any Democrat politician who wants to uphold the law and believes in the rule of law would be against allowing this. So it seems insane that they were in favor of it until you realize they seek to destroy America and build a Marxist state on the ashes. The same goes for all this pronoun shit and grooming in schools. It's like, it makes no sense. I mean, they claim to be for the children and for the families. How can they do this? Well, part of advancing Marxism is destroying the family unit, because part of being an authoritarian state is that the state replaces the family. It's like Hitler created the Hitler Youth to replace the family. He wants the state to teach children everything, morals, not just what schools teach, but to literally be their parents for absolute loyalty, to the state. So to achieve that, they must destroy religion, because that requires loyalty, and they must destroy the family. And so that now it makes sense, the whole grooming, because when you destroy a child's mind to the point that they don't even know what a boy or a girl is, and there's 30 genders, and what am I? I can be whatever I want to be, and family. Well, there's gay two moms, two dads, this and that. They totally destroy the building block of society, it makes no sense. Again, why would they do that? Ah, but when you realize American Marxism and their quest for a Marxist state, then it starts to make sense. So, enter the Antifa. Once again, why model a group after a communist terrorist organization that existed in pre-Nazi Germany? Why? Marxism, communism, of all the groups of all the things they could have chosen, or they could have created a new name. They could have created something new, like BLM. I mean, that's also a Marxist group, but at least they came up with an original name. But Antifa, why choose a communist uh, uh, terrorist group from 1930s Germany to be the model of your group and actually use the same name and the same logo? Because they love that Marxism and it's all part of the game. And unfortunately, they don't have any real Nazis to fight against. So they lie and they call Republicans and conservative Nazis, and that's who they fight against. I'll never forget briefly seeing a little piece of The View with that complete idiot Joy Behar, and they were talking about Antifa, and in her stupidity, her utter ignorance and stupidity, she said something like, "Well, Antifa, that's anti-fascist. That's a good thing, right? They're good people, right?" I'm just thinking, and I was thinking to myself, how could anybody be so colossally stupid and ignorant, right? It just it boggles the imagination. So, with all that in mind, that's why Trump did the right thing. He has now declared Antifa a terrorist organization, which it always has been, but now it's official. Now, let us hope and pray that the FBI and the Department of Justice will start acting on that new designation and start taking them down, start tearing apart that network. It will be difficult because Antifa they're not centrally organized. They are a loose sort of they are a loose organization of local groups, no central organization. But they certainly get funding, right? Because they got all kinds of nifty, man, when they come out, they got all kinds of flags and equipment and shields like cops and bullet vests and smoke bombs, and somebody's funding that thing. And there's the key: is you always want to follow the money. That's one of the greatest phrases ever come up with. Follow the money. When you follow the money, you find out all kinds of nifty stuff. And they're finding that a lot of that money starts with that George Soros. I tell you what, I probably shouldn't say this, but I will, because in the old days, or the old days, in like the 1950s, in the 60s, it's a well-known fact that the CIA was very active in overturning governments, assassinating communist leaders. I mean, they were very, old-fashioned spy game, killing. They tried to kill. Some of it is actually kind of humorous. They tried to kill Castro with an exploding cigar, or stuff like you see in the movies, right? But they really did that shit. And then I think in the 70s, was it the 70s or maybe the 80s? Somebody signed a law or an executive order or something saying that the CIA is no longer engaged in wet work. They call it wet work. That it's only going to be, intelligence gathering and stuff. I say bring back the wet work. Maybe not toppling governments because that's hasn't worked out so good, but certainly for taking people like Soros out, really, because he's, you're someone like Soros is a billionaire and a foreigner, and he is cocooned by so many layers of stuff. He's untouchable. You can never get to him. The only way to get rid of a guy like that is to literally take him out, like Mission Impossible style. And I'm all for it. So that's a personal opinion, not to be not. Anyway, so that's what's up. Good news on the Antifa front. What else is going on? Just as a side note, I am going to Rhineyville, Kentucky on the 4th because Michael Ferris, who's running to replace uh, Mitch McConnell in the Senate, is having an event. So that's where I will be on the 4th. I doubt any of you will go there, but that's where I'm going to be. That should be a little bit of fun. Take some pictures and stuff. Oh, one other thing. Uh, this is really shitty. X, for a while there, a big deal was made about Elon Musk taking over Twitter, calling it X, and bringing back free speech. It's really a bunch. Just so you know, it's all a bunch of bullshit. Now, I don't know. I think Elon Musk. He did a few things, and he certainly brought back the famous people who Twitter had canceled. He brought back Trump. Trump had been canceled from Twitter for years, and he reopened his account. And there's a lot of other well-known conservative commentators, pundits, and stuff who had been canceled. They reopened their accounts, and he made a few changes there and stuff like that. But you know what? Down at the small guy level, like me, small guys, it's no different. My X account has always been throttled back. I keep constantly getting notices. It's like, well, we've attached a label to your thing to limit viewership, and they never say why. And I just think they just keep coming up, and I have no idea why. They don't tell you why. You can't do anything about it. They say you can file an appeal, but they don't. They ignore it. They they when it comes to the small guy like me, X is no different than Twitter used to be. They're still left wing. I don't know if it's because there's algorithms still built into the system that Elon Musk never got rid of, or if they actually have employees still there, sort of like what do you call it, embedded leftists still there pulling the same old bullshit. And Elon, he's kind of he kind of focuses on one thing for a while and then moves on to something else, right? First it was X and the spaceship, and then it was getting Trump elected, and then they kind of faded away. Now he's back to doing whatever he's doing in space. I don't think he's really paying much attention to X anymore. Of course, what do I know? I could be wrong. But if if by some crazy chance Elon or somebody who knows Elon ever hears this video, all I can say is X has not changed a bit. It's still just as bad as Twitter ever was when it comes to the small fry like me. We still get the shaft. Our viewership still throttled, and now I'm suspended. Yeah, I woke up this morning. Somehow overnight, I got suspended. And while I was asleep, I was suspended while I was asleep. Why? They don't tell you. All they say is, you have violated our community. Your community. Have you seen some of the people in this so-called community? A bunch of fucking assholes. That's your community? That's one thing I love about these, like Facebook, and when they suspend you and they delete a thing. I love how they say, uh, you know, our community and our values. What community and what values? You got no community. Your community is a bunch of pieces of shit, like the people who killed Charlie Kirk, and you have no values. I'm part of the community and my values. You see, oh, you really got to love it when Democrats do. Oh, I just almost want to puke every time I hear a Democrat talk about their values. Or better or worse than that, when Biden was president and he would talk about America's values, I would think to myself, you sorry pedophile, senile piece of shit. You don't have any fucking values. Not to mention the fact that you're a fake Catholic and you're a fraud. You're more like anti-Catholic and anti-Christ. And when those people talk about their values, I just want to puke. They have no values. No values at all. Yeah, so I'm sort of meandering, so I guess I better cut this video off. So, good news on Antifa being designated as terrorist. Bad news on my X account uh, getting squashed. But I filed an appeal for what it's worth, and I'll let that ride for a little while. And if it stays suspended, I'll just start a new one. And maybe you guys can help me out and like it and follow it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I have no problem. Some people think that when their account gets squashed, that's the end of it. I have no problem creating multiple. I'll create another account. I mean, I just the hell with it, start all over again. Um, and Trump is in England. Whoa, what happened there? I just lost my. Okay, Trump is in England and things are going good. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. We got millions of Charlie Kirks stepping forward, and that's great too. So that's what's happening. And in closing, let me just say again what I always say: the theme up through 2026 and 2028 is stay the course. That man behind me has done more for America in 9 months than any president ever has. He has earned our loyalty, and we need to repay him by getting out. The 20, notoriously midterm elections have low turnouts, and they're bad for presidents. We cannot let that happen. We have to increase uh, Republicans in Congress, in the Senate, and in the House, and also across the states and governorships and stuff like that. We have to increase. We have to get out bigly, huge, huge in 2026, the same way that they did in 2024. And in 2028, when we elect a new president, we have to. Not only do we have to elect a Republican, but we have to elect a Republican who will carry the mantle that Trump is carrying. Keep pushing the same policies, the same engagements, that same sort of dominance of character and everything. I don't know who it would be. I think uh, I mean the vice president Vance is a good choice. Maybe even Marco Rubio, because I tell you what, Marco's been coming up lately over there at the State Department. Man, he's been trumping out, tossing out visas and stuff by these anti-American. I mean, he's doing great. So maybe he would be a good. Um, yeah, no rhinos though. I don't even. Bush better not even show his fucking face in 2028. Jeb, low energy Jeb. We don't need anybody like that. We need like a Rubio or a JD Vance. DeSantis. Yeah, I'm not. God, I'm still not quite sure what to make of DeSantis. I mean, he would be okay, but is he really a Trump? He runs hot and cold on Trump. I never know. I get nervous at people. It reminds me of Lindsey Graham. He's always flip-flopping. He's with Trump when it's convenient, and then he's against Trump. He's with Trump. Lindsey Graham's an asshole. We don't need someone like Lindsey Graham. But anyway, stay the course. Get out the vote. Vote red in 2026 midterms. Big time, man. We need big numbers. And 2028. That's the plan. And I will see you guys in the next Great American Video. Adios, muchachos.